thought about you during. I just shook my head, and that started blowing you guys' phones up after, after probably midnight.
Yeah, I'm at work, so I'm okay with that. So,
Okay.
so this is the thing, and as you just spoke on, we talk a lot about the game, ladies and gentlemen. We literally all day, every day, we're talking about some type of sporting event. So, just an insight on how we communicate. So, me and Sapphire was talking about the Browns versus the Rams game, man. And like I said, I told you before the game, like, hey, a lot of Kareem Hunt, power football. The defense step up. Now, I will say this: I was surprised that the defense didn't get pressure. I was highly surprised that they didn't get as much pressure as I thought. I know Miles Garrett is hurt, and I'm not going. I can't take it away. You still was on that field. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you were hurt, but you decided to play. You decided you didn't want to rest your body. You wanted to play. So therefore, I have to get on you too. I don't, you are a superstar. You didn't play like that. You was not. You literally gave zero pressures.
I don't think he had. I don't think he had any tackles either.
Nope.
He played really
Not
bad.
one.
We only had one tackle for loss in the game.
Yeah.
No sacks.
No sacks. We played pretty bad. Now I can't blame it on Joe Flacco. It was a lot of passes that he missed, but again, you're trying to get used to these receivers. You're not used to these receivers, so you don't have the chemistry that you had. And the one he had chemistry with had a game that he didn't have all year, and that's Elijah Moore. That's because they had chemistry before with each other. So I'm not surprised that if they build chemistry, how he'll look. But our offensive line, it looked bad. It looked bad. We was and I mean not during the whole game, but when it was bad, it was bad. And mainly our left tackle. Our left tackle struggles a lot. And I understand that he haven't played much, and I would definitely. But can somebody tell me what's wrong with what was the guy's name? He's been with us for a while. He's a lineman. I want to say is Harris his name?
O-line?
He played tackle.
Hubbard.
What happened with him? Like
he got hurt?
Is he still hurt?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what
I thought he was playing in the game.
No, he didn't play.
Oh, really?
That's what I was wondering. Like, is Chris Hubbard? Yeah, is he still hurt? Like, is he? I mean, I thought he was off the injury report, and so if he's not hurt, is there a reason that he's not playing? You know, I was just wondering.
Hey, Andre, we see you. Andre Waits gave 2 claps for us. So,
thank you, Andre.
Yeah, we appreciate you, sir.
So, yeah, that's my take on the game. Like
we were just bad all around.
All around, it was a horrible game.
Yeah,
it was just you know what, and it reminded me of the Denver game. We were horrible all around that game. It was just a horrible outing, and it's like, what, and it was a little bit of play calling. You know, I thought the play calling was kind of bad because you went from what was working. Like even a bootleg rollouts was working. You went away from that. It's like to me, and it never fails with Stefanski. You try to outsmart yourself
every game,
every
play,
and it's like, yo, like, do you need to go sit back and just calm yourself down because you get to a point where it's close and you'll do some bonehead. Prime example, the Broncos game where you tried that fast reverse neither yard. It's like, come on, man, we want to double it. Like it's those type of plays that is like, yo, we don't need you have a dominating offensive line, especially on the run game, on the running side. Use it. Run between the guards. You have 2 of the best guards between the guards and center, the best in the game. Use them. Run behind Big Jones. Run behind Big 79. He's 400 plus pounds. Run behind him. You know, quit trying to out scheme yourself. And I think I think as a coach, he don't get it. And
don't you wonder what the conversations are? Like even at halftime, Eddie, just based on what you said, don't you wonder what the conversations are between the coaches that know what you are saying needs to be done. And Stefanski.
I mean, you know what? It's. I'm pretty sure. You know, they come up and they talk. They probably huddle up for the what 10 minutes they got on halftime, and they probably draw what worked, what didn't work. We're gonna tweak this a little bit. We're gonna tweak that a little bit, and but at the end of the day, your head coach is your play caller.
Mm-hmm.
Your head coach is the one I'm gonna call the offense, and if it worked, great. If not, I'm gonna lean so much on my defense, which is okay. But eventually, when you get so many 3 and outs, it's starting to wear on that defense who's already struggling. And then it does, like this is what people fail to realize. Like our back end is hurt. Like when you're missing key players on your defensive backside, that is huge for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like so you're not running plays that you would normally run, and you can see that. Like you can see that. Which and I'll say this as far as when it comes to the overall team. So when it comes to defensive teams, if my DBs aren't doing their job, my offensive line can't do. I mean, my defensive line can't do theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My defensive line needs you to cover, so I can get to that quarterback.
And your corners are getting torched.
And they getting torched.
Right
they were
now.
getting torched.
Mm-hmm.
So that's leaving. You know, I don't have to wait 4 seconds. They give me a 2-second window, and I'm boom. You know, bam, bam, bam. It's killing us because we have injuries. You know, without Denzel Ward, you know, I don't know what number 28 name, but man, he was getting his butt handed to him like all game. I think his name was Thompson or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry if I don't know if you guys do know his name. Number 28 on the defensive backside. It was trash. But you know,
see how he said that when he took?
Mm-hmm.
It was trash. It was bad. It was really bad.
I just don't understand, Eddie, why, like, given everything you said that was obvious, these, you know, dropping Flacco back and having him throw like bombs down the field. I mean, even if we caught the ball, would still put our defense back on the field without giving them a nice break. I just would love for someone, you listeners out there, to please reach out and educate me on what I'm missing.
I mean, I'll tell you another thing. Like what blew me like that.
Mike Ford,
man, trash. I mean, he was getting torched the entire game.
Well, isn't he like fourth string then? Because
yeah, he's the fourth string. That's what I say.
Okay.
He's fourth string. He would have never seen the field if we didn't have the injuries. He would have never even. He would still be on the practice squad. They just called him up, you know. And that's what I was trying to say. Like, so I understand like why we aren't getting the pressure. So I'm not like totally like bombing our defensive line because we know how good they are, but with your defensive line is only as good as your corners, and your linebackers is only as good as your defensive line. That's why it's a whole unit. Like if your defensive line is trash, your linebackers 9 times out of 10 gonna look really bad.
Yeah, but you know, you also needed Zadarius Smith to step up as well too, and he didn't do that. And you know, Miles being hurt. So, what'd you say, Sapphire?
I think he only had 1 tackle.
Who Zadarius.
Yeah. Jay Ness sent some fire signs and some football signs. What's up, Jay? George said stat of the game of the teams in the playoff picture in the AFC right now. 4 of those 7 teams are playing backup players.
Yeah, you're 100%.
A lot of injuries out there this season.
Injuries. And it's starting to show. That's why that early bye really hurt us. And I kept saying, like, you don't have that extra. Oh, yeah, that early bye hurt us. Like, it's going to hurt. You got to think. You got 17 weeks. You took a bye at week 4.
It's so interesting to hear you say that. And I don't want to sound like, cold-blooded. But there was a time when there was no such thing called a bye.
Yeah, you're going to have 12 games.
I mean, and I can appreciate that. But my point is, if we're going to, and respectfully, Eddie, land on that rock, then does it become a situation where maybe the offseason conditioning isn't where it should be to help sustain players? Because I'm specifically talking about players that may be overcompensating, right, due to lack of conditioning, that then put them at a higher risk for injury, right? Like
Okay.
those are the things that I think about. What have you say, young
Okay,
man?
so this is my thoughts, and I can understand, I can respect what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but I can respect it. Okay, so this is the thing about when it comes to the conditioning. First of all, your training camps, yeah, it gets you into football shape, but they already, trust me, they're in top shape, you know. But the conditioning, as far as and make sure I got what you were saying correctly. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Please correct me. So if you're saying that you feel that the conditioning is the reason that they're injury prone, to me, and this is coming from me playing. I can't speak for a lot of people. I don't even speak for Eddie, and I play as from me playing ball. I didn't get injured much. I had one significant injury that was really like bad, and that's when I tore my ACL. And back then it wasn't no easy fix like it is now. But I will say, out of all my injuries, like there were little nicks and bruises, I'm going to play on that. It's just a warrior spirit, and most football players will play on those. You have to really, and I can tell you, it wasn't because I was not conditioned to get hurt. I was probably in hands down the best shape of my life. It just happened, it truly just happened. I'll give you another example. One of my good buddies,
Mm-hmm.
he played with me, and he wound up running down the field and turning his ACL. I can guarantee you, he was probably in better shape than most people I know. Even now, it just happened. Like, injuries just happen. Now, as far as the bye week goes, I feel it's definitely necessary because, one, and no shade to the old school players, but the new school players are stronger, faster, quicker, hit harder,
Jump higher.
jump higher. I mean, this is like, y'all thought y'all played brutal, and I tell everybody, man, listen, I don't really think. I think if these guys played back then, you wouldn't hear about no LT. I'm sorry, like, I'll be honest with you, LT was great, but if they had the same rules as LT got with this speed and this power, you wouldn't even heard about LT. Yeah. And I'm just being honest with y'all. And there's not no shade to LT. There's not no shade to none of the greats. Because without them, we wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? But the truth be told, like, with the technology and all that to elevate your game, like, I don't think they would. I don't think, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I don't think LT would be heard about.
Okay, so like to that, I'll just say this again. Y'all know I look at the game from a atypical perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember back in March when David Njoku posted on his social media? I think he had gotten up to like, hello? Oh, I think he had gotten up to like 270 pounds. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Now that I recall, the previous season, he came in around, the average tight end weight, 250-ish.
Yeah.
So when I say off-season conditioning program, I'm not saying that they're not in shape, they're not working through the program, but fast forward, even going to that Denver game, how many dropsies did Njoku have?
He had a few.
I mean, but let's be honest, throughout his career, though, even in college,
I get that. I get that. But for me, it's like, okay, you already blowing up that you're 270. And, who knows what the real number was, right? I mean, he's all stud. But when I think about a football player that has to continually reoxygenate his body, right? Recover quickly. And then I contrast that. This is just one example. 270 something. Maybe he's down from that, but he's carrying about 20 extra pounds from last season to this season, to the beginning of training camp in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Contrast that to Myles Garrett, who I thought came into this season in the best shape since I've known him to be a professional football player.
I agree. He was slimmer.
Right?
He was. I thought he was in great shape.
Absolutely. So I just wonder again, what is the impact of that on a player's durability across the season? Eye-hand coordination, how quick they come off the ball on the defensive side. Like, I just wonder because the Browns have been inundated with injuries. You mentioned that you couldn't remember the left tackle's name. Were you talking about James Hudson?
No, we were talking about Chris Hubbard.
Okay. So again, to me, left side, right side. I mean, I don't know that Conklin is ever going to come back and play professional football because he stays injured, right? So it's just so much and so consistent. I just wonder, what does their off-season conditioning program look like?
I mean, probably each player does his own, in the off season, and then they all get together right before training camp.
Yeah, so
probably.
So in most cases, you are allowed to to be in the facility. So I'm pretty sure they, like you said, we can set up something that we can all work out, but it's not mandatory. You know what I'm saying? Now you're not trying. Okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example with LeBron James. LeBron James says on he's naturally 240, between 240 and 250 pounds on the natural side is LeBron James. He said during the off season he walk around at 270. You know what I'm saying? And you know how he plays. You look at him at 38 years old, still balling, about to be 39 in a couple of days. Still, actually,
December 30th.
Yeah.
Capricorn.
And he's still showing out. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's a great point because look, he's 4 inches taller than Njoku, right?
Yeah, he's because Njoku's 6'3", he's 6'5". Njoku's 6'5". Oh well, he only a couple inches.
3.
LeBron is 6'8" and a half.
Okay. So, and I want to say this. Thank you, George. I really appreciate your comments because I am swimming in your pool. The Browns, he's saying we're not missing anything there. We just need to simplify the run.
Mm-hmm.
Let Flacco throw short, pinpointed passes. I right everything I saw last night on the foot. I'm so sorry. I mean, and that kid Browning, they talked about how he invested in himself during the off season, to the point where people were like questioning, that level of commitment he made to himself, even financially. I think we saw last night. And again, y'all know I've talked about what goes on between the ears of the quarterback. Listen, he was in his zone. He knew his assignment. He didn't step out of it. He knew the plays. He read the screens. He put the ball in his playmaker's hands.
I would love to see him next week. And furthermore than that, because you have. I know a lot of times we see one good game and we like jump in the deep end of this one game, and I'm not saying that's us right now, but I'm saying like let's not give him the MVP just yet. Like, let's see how Brownie play, because again he's still a new quarterback. So again, we still have to. I haven't seen him. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying we saw him on the TV, but I'm just saying like. A lot of tape that we see it on him is from college, a different kind of concept. So I don't really have no film on him. So now when we put film on him, how will he look? You know what I'm saying? Like, how will he look? Then that's my thing. Like, coaching was excellent yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Because y'all put him in the position.
Yes,
to
it
win.
was.
So I would give it. Honestly, I would give maybe 60% of that to the coaching.
All right, we got to take a break right now, you guys. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
You looking good though, right?
Oh, thank you. I got somewhere to go after this.
Where are you going?
This thing about racism. Soledad O'Brien's supposed to be narrating it. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea.
And keep in mind, you can keep it locked right here on 95.9 FM. You can also download the WOVU app so you can listen to us on the go. You can also listen to us online at WOVU.org. And then also you can contact the station at any time at 216. I was about to give out my cell phone number again. 216-271-0959. And we're going to have Irie on in about 7 minutes, but something I wanted to talk to you guys about really quickly, wanted us to chat about is baseball right now. The Guardians are fielding offers for Shane Bieber as well as Emmanuel Clase. And then it just breaking news, they did receive the number one pick in the MLB draft, which they've never had before. They've had the number 2 pick, but they've never had the number 1 pick overall, and it was a draft lottery, which I really don't like. I do not like the NBA lottery. I believe that your team finishes, last, you should get the first pick. So I don't like these lotteries that much. But how surprised are you? We pretty much knew about Shane Bieber, them wanting to, trade for him before they lose him for nothing in free agency. But what do you guys think about Emmanuel Clase? Them fielding offers for him, and he had the most amount of saves in the Major League Baseball last year, as well as he had the most amount of blown saves, which I think he had either 11 or 12 blown saves. But he had the most saves with over 40 in Major League Baseball. He might have been exactly at 40. But what do you guys think about them shopping him?
Is it the same team that got rid of Lindor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I ain't surprised there.
Well, exactly. They weren't going to pay him.
Yeah,
so that was a thing,
Listen, we are a farm. We are
a farm system for other teams.
Farm system.
I've always said that.
And so it does. Like at this point, it doesn't surprise me. I honestly, and then the Shane Bieber really doesn't surprise me because listen, I think he got his contract up at the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely. I don't think he's trying to sign back with us anyway. So I would definitely shop him anyway. So I'm not mad about them shopping him, but we need a closer, and you had a decent closer. Like I'm not saying he was the greatest of all time, but you have a pretty decent closer. Yes, he had. I think it was. So was it 10 blows? 10, 11?
11 at the minimum. It might have been a lot.
It wasn't
11 or 12.
I was about to say max is like 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd say 12 blown saves. He had 12 blown saves, but again, 40
He led
saves.
the league in that too.
Yeah.
So he led the league in saves. He led the league in blown saves as well. So,
but I'm not. It's not too many people out there right now that I would.
Well, actually, first of all, you had me at led all players with 12 blown saves. Okay. It hasn't worked here. Listen, maybe he'll do better in warmer weather because that's the area of the planet he comes from. But I have no issue with that. I actually was gobsmacked to learn that they waived Oscar, right? I was shocked. He kind of reminded me of this generation's Manny Ramirez, just needed to be developed. Yeah. But as it relates to pitchers not being out there, and this will not be popular, and Rachel, I know you know where I'm going. Why not try to bring Trevor back?
I knew she was going to say that. I knew she was about to say that.
No.
I had a feeling you was about to say that.
Why not? Oh, my God.
He's older now. He's older now. I mean, when you're talking about closers, I mean, he's over where? Japan somewhere? I'm just saying. Right?
I had a feeling she was about to say that. I don't know why in my gut I felt she was about to say bring him back.
I was caught off guard completely.
I wasn't. I was not. Because when she said, when I said there ain't too many people out there, and she said, well, it was like, I know where she going with this.
I thought maybe she was going to say Corey Kluber or something
No.
Corey wasn't coming to my mind. I ain't going to be front.
I'm just asking.
I wouldn't bring Bauer.
Why
I
not?
would not.
Well,
Why
his
not?
last play was with Cleveland.
Mhm.
But the last pitch he ever pitched, he chucked into the stands
Yeah,
because he got
he
mad.
got mad.
And pretty much, Terry Francona had to grab his collar like a parent and bring him back into the stands. And that's when you could tell Tito was mad. He didn't want to deal with it. Stephen Vogt isn't going to want to deal with that. And then also, he lost 2 games in the World Series. He shouldn't have been on the roster after that. I'd rather bring back Zach Plesac than I would Trevor Bauer. And Zach Plesac was not a good pitcher. He turned out to not be a good pitcher at the end of his career here with us last season, but I would take him back over Trevor Bauer.
So your mindset
I'm just saying specifically as a closer. I just asked the question.
So your mindset is because he's and I'm asking you, Seth. You saying because he's older, he might be more mature now?
No, I didn't say anything about mature, but older as in, he seems to be functioning over in Japan. Why not take a look and see where his arm is at specifically for the closer position? And honestly, and I hate to say this, like we had more of an identity with the Trevor Bauers on the team, right? We had a player. He cared, and I'm just saying, would it be a bad thing to take a look at him? We can deal with other players, in perpetuities. They're off the field.
You have a young team.
And why not balance it with some veteran?
No. I'm not saying I'll bring no veteran presence here, but you have a young team. If you know how a teammate can kind of mess up a locker room. Not saying he's that. Again, I don't know the man. I don't know if he's that same guy that I saw, like you said, chuck the ball into the stands. I don't know if he's that same guy who when he's mad at the world. I don't know that. But what I'm saying is, what if he is though?
We don't know. We won't know until we. I'm certain the teams. I'm certain the teams conduct their due diligence, psychological profiles, interview, whatever. I'm just saying if he passes the sniff tests, what would be the harm in looking at him, seeing where he's at?
And the reason why he's doing so well in Japan because they don't play that over there.
You'll go to jail.
And it ain't no slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
you'll be in jail for a long time for just yelling at somebody. They don't play that over there. Yeah, you better.
All right, George says with the Wahoos, that other name, nothing from the front office surprises me. Drone Boy will be plucked by a team that will not be this one, but I've seen dumbfounded accomplish
right on, George.
John Suggs, what's up, John? How you doing?
Good job, George.
He said, is he going to want to come back for less than what he's getting paid now? He signed a 1-year deal for $4 million. What would you sign him for?
Was that in the Japanese currency or American currency?
He talking about the Trevor Bauer.
I
mean, will he come back for $4 million?
Less than that.
Less than $4 million.
I'd give it a shot if he passed the.
If he passed MLB, he will.
John said if a team signs him, I see the Reds.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
They'll take chances on. I can even see Detroit. I can see Detroit signing.
I don't think any team wants him.
But his career. Yeah, I think he destroyed his career.
He has a bad attitude.
I think he's blackballed. And this time you put that on yourself, bro.
Given the legacy that former owner Marge Schottenheimer, I think that was her last name, left with the Reds, I could see him fitting in very well there.
You know what? Because she just didn't care. Her as a person, I saw her documentary and it was like, whoa, like this lady was crazy. Like I love her. I ain't gonna lie. I can understand why her players liked her a lot.
All right, guys, we got Irie here. We're going to take a quick break right quick. You're listening to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. And when we come back, we'll have Irie Harris from Cleveland.com.
Questions for Irie. I don't have any. I never have questions for Irie. I just be winging it.
I got Sapphire with me. I got Eddie, and we have Irie Harris of Cleveland.com. Irie, how you doing today, sir? What's going on with you?
Rachel, long time no see. It's been an interesting few days. I know we got quite a bit to get into. Sapphire, hello everyone.
Jacob, Jacob, Jacob,
Man.
Jacob.
Hey, Irie, man. You not
What's
know
up,
my
boss?
name. I always wondered that.
What's happening, Matt?
I said, you know my name?
Ah,
No,
you're
you
gonna
don't. I
ask me
knew it.
now.
It's Eddie though. I knew it because every time he get on here, he say, "Hey Rachel, hey Sapphire," and everyone.
It's
Could,
Eddie, Irie.
had to wait until we got on the air. Couldn't get at me behind the scenes. Nah, I'm just kidding, Andy. It's
I'm
all
just
good.
messing with you, bro.
Yeah.
I know, but how you feeling today, bro?
I'm cool, man. Raining a bit and stuff, but not too bad. I like the rain. I know we got a few busy days coming ahead. A lot of questions in the air, but let's get to it. How's everyone doing in studio?
We doing all right, man.
Great.
We doing okay. Just a little bit of craziness. We've just lost two in a row, two winnable games. So very disappointing in that because each loss, you see yourself, in a playoff opportunity in a very close AFC conference race. With each loss, you see your chances dwindling
Going
down.
down.
Yeah, when these are winnable games, you should have beat San.
Baltimore. So you should have won both games.
Yeah, you should have beat the Seahawks though. Games like that. Who else did we lose to in the beginning that we shouldn't have lost to? Where Baltimore should have really been our only loss. Y'all remember that game?
Oh, you're asking like how many other games were like in the palm of their hands that they gave away? I would
Yeah,
I would argue Pittsburgh.
yeah, that one. Sorry, yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Monday
We
Night Football.
Pittsburgh, Seattle. Those are the two off the bat that come to mind. You know.
Yeah, and these last two games because you're in it, and then something happens. Usually, Kevin Stefanski makes a terrible play call, and then it's gone. Then the loss happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, Irie, thoughts about the game that we just played against? Who did we just play?
Rams.
The
Thank,
Rams.
thank you.
She look good today, y'all. She can mess up today. She out here hot.
So stupid.
Fire today.
You are crazy. But yeah,
Good
what are your
God.
thoughts about the game against the Rams?
That was, it was an interesting game because, and I was thinking this earlier personally. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, there weren't too many games on the schedule where, regardless of who was in the pocket or who was out, this was really one of those games where like you didn't really know what to expect. Like we knew Denzel Ward was out. I feel for you know when it came to Joe Flacco, like we did not really know what to see. Like we know his age. That's all that we really knew. We didn't know if he still had it in him, and he did, and he showed that during that first drive. But then like the run game, and I apologize to anybody that's heard me talk quite a bit about the run game and said that's what they had to do on Sunday because it really didn't work out as well as I thought it would have been. 23 carries, 87 yards, even though it got going later on in the game. But then that defense, man, there are really some serious defensive woes still, specifically when playing the west of Cleveland. Like each game that they've had out west, and I only mention it within the geographic because of the whole Sapphire you always mention. Getting in a little early, all right, getting adjusted to the time or to the distance to the air out there. They were out there the entire week, and they still just weren't able to get it done entirely. There were too many. It just seemed like the passing game for the Rams, which we knew was going to everybody expected that at least. If anything, we expected that. They still got it whenever they wanted to, man. Puka, the rookie wide receiver from the Rams, he was killing him, man. He had all reception and yards in the first half. He only had one target in the second half. And that Rams team still got it going. And then that run game even got going later on, especially in the fourth quarter. I believe they finished like 121 yards on like 25 carries. Like, it was just that weird kind of defensive performance where it brings up some serious worries and questions. And you're wondering, can they turn us around defensively ahead of Denzel coming back and ahead of, the last 5 game home stretch, the last game 5 stretch of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. Totally agree with you on that one.
Thank you, Andy.
What I will say though, was something we spoke on was about the run game. Like I was in agreement with you. I thought like in order for us to really win this game, we definitely have to step our run game up. And I said, and they did. I said, use Kareem Hunt a lot. Like he should have been like that guy, and he was averaging, I think, 4.2 yards a carry.
Yeah,
So if you gonna, and you saw that I kept drawing a blank, the other running back,
uh,
Jerome Ford. You saw that
yeah,
he wasn't doing anything.
he wasn't.
So why not? At that point, your adjustment should have been, I'm going to lean on, yeah, for you are helping him, but I'm going to lean on Hunt right now because Hunt is getting the yards. He's pounding the ball. He's playing physical. He's getting the good carries. Why not use him? Like, and then, but instead you want to lean on Ford, and Ford wasn't doing it. Then you want to go lean on Pierre Strong, and it's like, oh, come on, man, come on, like dude, you have a hot hand, and it's like, for me, it's like every time you have a hot hand, you go away from it. You know, like, I
Yeah,
don't understand that sometimes.
yeah, so sometimes I don't either. I was kind of surprised to see when it came to Ford if I'm not doing that well. I think at one point he had like 4 carries for a loss of 8 yards. Like it
Yeah.
was just it was just that kind of game for him. Though Hunt, as you said, did have the hand 12 carries, 48 yards. He had about five rushing first downs too. On top of that, like he was the
Mm-hmm.
man, to get the first down to, and I wish that we were able to see it at the end of the game, which I know we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, even for Pierre Strong too, I expected a few more carries from him because they really use him really in like that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That where he comes out with like 4 carries and he can and it's like nearly 40 yards within those carries. Like
Yeah.
that's like that's like a Vinny Johnson out there in the fourth quarter for football. Like he just gets going suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did find it interesting that we didn't get as much carries as we wanted to from Hunt. I don't know if there was a sense of like maybe just still airing it out when it says that. But I will say this as well too. That Rams run defense is still respectable, and I felt the way even before the game. I mean, they were I believe ranked like 14th or something within their run defense. Like it should have been. Once you found that odd hand, especially in that second touchdown drive too, the run game kept that going ahead of the play action for Harrison Bryant. So it
Yeah.
was really interesting, but it's just amongst the many questions that we still have regarding the play calling in this team at that.
Yeah, John Stubbs says, well, Browns have the Jags without Lawrence and the terrible Bears. Should be two easy wins. Texas is going to be a super tough road game. Jets going to be a low scoring game, all defense. Then you have a tough road game against a good QB at Bengals, Jake Browning. I see 2 to 3 more wins at most. And that is not good because you think we are going to need 11 wins to make it to the playoffs, Irie?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I beginning of the season, I even said I was like, I said should probably put down 10-7 as my season prediction, but my heart says 11 wins, so I've stuck to that 11 wins, and of course I'd want to give more, but we just know anything happens with this team, so I'll just keep it at 1-1. But it's also, and real quick before you go, Sapphire, I'm just gonna say it is an interesting stretch because as I've said prior, before the season, I felt that week 7, 8, and 9 was like kind of like the scares, like the most worrisome part of the schedule for me because those are other games that they were better than on paper, but we just didn't know how it would pop out. That was Indianapolis, Seattle, Arizona. We saw how close it literally went down to the wire between Indianapolis and Seattle. So if it went down during that stretch of the season, I don't know, it could go either other way with the next couple of games versus Jacksonville and Chicago. They're going to be favored heavily, especially if Trevor Lawrence is out, but that doesn't mean that these teams still can come out and get the win on the Browns.
What I would tell everybody is, and I'm sorry, Sapphire, you go ahead right now, is one thing about the Jaguars is that defense is nice. Defense is nice. Don't let yesterday's game fool you. They have a really good defense. So,
That run defense fifth right now, or tied for fifth right now with the Lions, man. Just at around 93 yards a game, rushing yards a game that they're allowing. Yeah, that defense is nice. Just as you said.
Before yesterday's Sunday's game, I looked at the schedule and I saw 1-4. I thought the Rams would beat the Browns. I definitely thought the Jags would beat the Browns. I thought the Bears were the weakest link in the next four because I just don't feel like we're going to have anything when we travel to the Texans. But going back to something that you said, I read that anything can happen with the Browns. First of all, for anybody that's listening, you need to follow Irie on cleveland.com.
Oh,
This
thank you. I
recent
appreciate it.
article, yeah, that you wrote, winners and losers from the Browns 36-19 loss to the Rams. One of the things I keyed in on was the Mishigash with Ethan Pochik, and hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name correctly,
Yeah.
picking up his third false start. Can you speak to that? What you heard in the locker room, what the coaches are saying? Is it a real issue, or is it, as Kevin Stefanski, as you right, has said, it's something he felt like that the referees had to be led to see? Share with us about that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I was gonna say too. Sadly, I wasn't able to be at the locker room since I wasn't, able to be at the game. I surely wish I could have been for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm.
You know, LA out there. But from what I did see online within the transcripts, I do think it's something that has to be cleaned up, even if it's not their fault, even if the league is thinking something else within Philadelphia's tush push or the brotherly love shove, like whatever it is or maybe has to be cleaned up within like the next 48 hours, the next couple of business days, because you can't, like, there's no room for that at this point in the season. Even if it's not, like I said, even if it's not their fault, there's no room for that, or especially within the end of the game situation. Like the final score within that Rams game said 36-19,
Yeah.
and somebody that didn't watch the game, I think the Rams had a hold on them the entire game.
Yep.
It was still a close game. There was still an opportunity at that, and then that false start kind of hampered them in a way. When they were going to look to give Hunt his six rushing for his first down of the game. So I think it's more so a thought of like Posh's one of the best, more productive centers in the league. Usually will or will not move the ball, but he did on that time and got called on it. So now hopefully they clears it up.
It's fascinating because I was watching Stefanski emote on the sideline with the referees, and I thought, where has that been all season? Right. It really bothers me. The reason why I projected 1-3 wasn't because of the players. It's like everything that Eddie and you and Rachel and I talk about. Like, I think the most unstable component of our team is the head coach and the way he calls the plays. It's so, I think I'm beyond being upset, but more just scratching my head thinking, when this season is over and we reflect on our schedule and those games that we should have won, that is when it is going to feel like I have swallowed a glass full of nails. And I'm gonna close on this. I was listening to the various sports media outlets after the game on Sunday, and consistently heard that the Browns organization is exceptionally happy with Stefanski as a young coach and someone that the organization can build with. And I felt like I was from a different planet. Like, it is so unfortunate. We're seeing him each week make poor decisions when it is apparent we have an advantage on the ground that could potentially open the pass game. And we are burning through quarterbacks, in my opinion, because of it. So, anyone's thoughts on that?
I'll let you go, Irie.
Yeah, I want to get RV's take
I
on
really
this
want to hear
first.
Irie's takes on this one.
Oh man, I mean it's hard to. I mean, you probably see my expression right now. It's hard to disagree with that regarding, especially that last part you just said. Like, we're burning the quarterbacks because of his play calling. That was a bar. That was a highlight of this episode of the show already. Yeah. Now, is it wrong of me to give Stefanski just a little bit of flack from yesterday regarding the number of times, with Flacco passing the ball 44 times? I think the run game just a little bit though, because like as I've said, when it's not Watson in the pocket with DTR or even Walker, that's when I really call for the run game. Didn't know what to expect with Floggo. We see he still has it, and I'm more than comfortable with him throwing passes that are up at 10 yards or more at that. But at the same time, there is a sense of like a pattern, just like you said, a domino effect. There's certain play calls is kind of hampering down and wearing down the quarterbacks a bit. And while some say that's what they train for, they should be ready for it. At the same time, I mean, there's different areas of the game, especially within that offense, that can be used. Everything doesn't have to be through the shoulder being, used. So, yeah,
Right.
I think you have a truth to that, a lot of truth to that.
That's good. So I really don't have nothing to say on that one. That was actually both of you guys made great points, and
That was all Sapphire. I got nothing to do with that. I just piggybacked off of that.
Like you both was on point right there. Like, and just to piggyback off of the Joe Flacco statement you made about him throwing the ball 40 times. I don't have a problem with him throwing the 40 times because it's Joe Flacco and I know he can do it. And that's something that you just spoke on. I do feel like in those type of games, yes, the Rams run defense is really good because of number 99, and that guy is a Hall of Famer in my eyes, and I'm pretty sure in everybody else's eyes.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
but when you attacked him, you ran right at him. He reminded me of Myles Garrett a little bit. He over pursue sometimes. You know, he because he relies so much on his strength that it helps him out a lot of the times. And if you watch the game, you will see that when they ran directly at him, it worked for them. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't have probably made an adjustment to fix it because that's we talk about Aaron Donald, one of the greatest. But I really felt like until he made that adjustment, attacking. One thing that was working for us was the bootleg, and then bootleg was working pretty good for us, and then we go away from it, and then we go away from the run that was working really well. It's just like at what point and is at what point do we finally be like, you know what? I need like one thing. I mean, I'm gonna finish my point. But Sapphire, you said that you no longer mad. You can no longer get mad because you're like, it's starting to become like it's the fantasy. It's bound to happen. And I agree with that. But it's at some point, as a owner or a GM, you have to start realizing like, hey, this guy isn't getting us over that hump. You know, it's like with the Eagles and Andy Reid when they realize that Andy Reid is a great coach. Andy Reid is not getting us over that hump to win the Super. He get into the championship games. He's not getting over that hump. But when they got rid of Andy Reid, they wanted to get over that hump. It's like what we have to do. It's not saying that you're a bad coach. I think Stefanski's a bad coach, but I'm not saying that you're a bad coach. It just says like sometimes you just need a different perspective, a different set of eyes to get over certain things. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Stefanski that guy for it.
And this is why I go back to just trying to imagine what those conversations are, you know, during halftime between the coaches or after the game with the coaches, the general manager. It's so apparent. And I just, you know, I got to say this. I think it is so important for legacy players to still be a part of and connected with an organization, especially like the Browns, players that understand our culture. And yes, there are much younger people that are going to games. It's a different demographic. But back in the day, there was a buy-in, I think, that more fans had to the way that the team played based on what the team, the product they put on the field was. So like we knew, right? We knew, okay, this is who we are. This is what we do. I think a great example of that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And I think that it contributes to the reason why they have won some very close games and in a way where they dictated how their opponents played more than their opponents stuck to the way that they played. I see these things, again, from a different perspective, but very, very essential and related. Kevin Stefanski is a Madden play calling head coach.
I agree with that one.
That's it.
That's perfect.
That's it. I mean, I can't make it so. I was sitting at a place, people were going nuts. Chairs moving, cursing. And it's like, while it frightened the heck out of me, I said to myself, but I understand. I understand. So I wonder if that's going to translate for the Browns organization when they think about selling tickets, season tickets, single game tickets. I think at some point, these two roads are going to intersect. And I believe when I'm hearing from the Chris Styles, from you, Eddie, Kevin Stefanski is going to be the Cleveland Browns head coach into perpetuity. And I just don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get rid of him. I mean, I'm gonna tell you why. And I would love to hear your point on this. He's winning. He's winning. He has a winning record. I mean, you may not. I trust me. You know, Rachel. I speak every week. Sapphire, you say, get rid of him. But you can't. How can you get rid of somebody who's winning?
Yeah, you can. Got two comments out of this, and he's not winning the games he should be winning either because the Browns had a better record than the Rams and Denver. So, John Suggs says, as of today, you still see the Ravens as the best AFC team. I know Miami has a speed, but Ravens defense is nice. Who would you put in their top three AFC? Houston or Colts in as third? I'm just not buying on KC.
I love this one. So look, the Dolphins is not in my top three. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not. Their speed is amazing, but if you actually look at their team overall, um, they're not. When they play good teams, they struggle really, really bad. Like against teams they should beat, they do what they're supposed to do. But against a good team, they don't look as good as they should. So they're not in my top three. The Ravens are definitely in my top three right now. I would put the Texans up there, not as one of the best teams, but on the trajectory of being really good going forward. But their schedule is pretty easy from this point on. Um, but I can't give it to the
I mean,
Browns because they're struggling against the teams they should beat. So I can't give it to the Browns.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
give it to Kansas City, and the reason why because as bad as they look on the second half, man, they once they get that back together, they gonna be dominating again. So, to answer your question, I'll give it to Ravens, KC, and playing today, I'll give it to the Texans.
All right, Irie, what's your picks?
I'm sorry, can you run through that exactly like picks for for the top three, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Top three in the
Uh
AFC.
yeah, I mean well I do like what Andy had to say. It's still hard. I mean, I do still feel the top two are Baltimore and Miami. It's still kind of weird to think who even the third best team in the AFC is. It's really anybody's game. It really is a toss up. Like Kansas City is still good, but we can see they're visibly not as dominant or up to the level of par that they were last season. But I think because of how the AFC is running right now, and especially the Browns, who possibly could have had a part in the conversation, I'm still gonna have to put the Chiefs right now. So I think it is fine where it's at right now. Uh, to me, it's hard to think of anybody else to put within that top. They're not gonna put Jacksonville or even Pittsburgh. Like no.
All right, Sapphire, really quickly, your top three.
I would go the Finns, the Ravens, and the Jaguars with a healthy Trevor. But since he's not, KC.
All right, I am going with KC, Miami, and Baltimore. Then we got another question, and we got 3 minutes left. George says, "What does Alex Van Pelt exactly do for the Browns in his OC's duties? Why can't he start calling plays and Stefanski actually head coach?"
I feel he does. He does what he's supposed to do. Nothing. He's not doing anything because you got to think about this. Last year we didn't have. I mean, a couple years ago we didn't have an offensive coordinator. I think we were forced to get one, and they just made him an offensive coordinator, and they was like, "Yo," Stefanski was like, "Yo, you ain't calling no plays, bro. Like you just here because they made me hire you." And that's what I think they did.
Irie, what's your
AVP
thoughts
is on
about
deck.
that? Irie?
I think that AVP is awaiting the same the same thing that we are. I think he's thinking the same thing as the Waimier. If he's not what he's brought in, what he thinks he wants to do. I'm sure there's a lot more he'd like to do. I suppose. So yeah, I'm sure he's probably on par with all of us within questioning.
Sapphire, 2 minutes.
Listen, baseball term, AVP is on deck, waiting to have his at bat.
I mean, he in the lineup now. I don't understand why he can't bat. You know, get in the batting order. He should be number one in the batting order. He should be leadoff. But you know, it's just all crazy. And you know, like we said, we noticed games in which Alexander Pelt is calling the play calling because you know there's a notable striking out on low balls. Curveballs keep getting them. Well, everybody, I want to thank you for listening to Her in the Huddle. Thank you to our comment section, George, John, everybody that interacted with us, Andre, Jay Ness. We appreciate you all. You for Sapphire, for Irie, for Eddie, for First Lady. Thank you so much for listening. This is Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. Thank you, Irie. We appreciate you as always. You. All right, talk to you soon. Bye, Sapphire. Talk to you guys
guys.
soon. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.